For Americans, do you actually leave a spare key to your house somewhere outside like in the movies? We live in a dense area. Not too many hiding places for us. This means spare keys are with family 5 minutes away. Go out in suburbs where there's a reasonable privacy for your yard, and you might find keys looking around the property. People get creative. I think one house had keys stored inside shed. One had theirs inside a pool pump fuse box. Lift a specific rock in a garden. Even just magnets attached under the car frame. These days, it pays to have stuff like ring to unlock with number pad or phone. I would be alone after school for a couple of hours until my brother or my parents came home from school and work. For some reason, I was trusted to walk to school and watch myself for a couple of hours a day, but I couldn't be trusted with a key, apparently, to backyard for some reason, and they would have me keep the spare key inside of the little metal cigarette pouch thing that folds out of the back seat, really giving away my age and class here. Huh? We did growing up in the 90s. But I would never risk it now. My kids have their own keys. You lose them. Go to a friend's house or the neighbors. However, they're teenagers and kind find something to do until I get home. Mum used to do under the mat, but Dad thought it was too cliché. We had garage fridge for Dad's beer and extra stuff. And there was a butter tray with a door, so that's where it went from then on. Had a code for the garage door. Yes. And it's a really stupid practice. I 100 own up to that. I got myself locked out once. Let me tell you. Short of a colorectal exam, it's hard to think of a more humiliating moment than being a grown-ass adult and having to tell another adult I can't get into where my bed and toes are. I paid that sumbitch locksmith $170 at 1 a.m. on a weeknight, and he looked at me like I was the moron I clearly was. Absolutely not. I also was raised in and currently live in a major city though, where that seems like it would be particularly daft. City people definitely don't leave spare keys laying around for random people to find, unless they're wanting to get burgled. American films and TV shows centered on family life are almost always set in affluent, upper middle class suburbs. My grandparents used to keep theirs under a false brick on the porch. That was another time though. My mum took that shit inside when she inherited the house, thank God. I knew somebody who had a false sprinkler head that you could pull out of the ground that had a key compartment in it. Also seen fake rocks with compartments. So yeah, people definitely do it. Yep. The locksmith is expensive, and locking yourself out is extra inconvenient if you have to have a family member drop what they are doing to come rescue you. There's one in my backyard jammed between a fence post and picket. It's not visible, even up close, and it's behind a shrub, but easy enough to get to in an emergency. One time I got locked out of a house where I was pet sitting, and I was like, "Where did you hide your spare key?" And they described which rock it was buried under. But it was literally buried under the soil. Pretty brilliant. So a thief can't find it just by flipping rocks. He'd have to think to start digging. So I think I have one hidden under my deck since 2012, but I haven't used it since we got a numerical keypad. Until a couple years ago, when my husband and I were out of town and my kids locked out my mother, Sai. She just went and got the keys from my truck, which were in the ignition. We're rednecks. I could probably get away with leaving my place unlocked most of the time because of super unfriendly doggos and also guard horse. That said, no need to test the theory. I lock my dang house when I leave and don't leave keys laying around. Not even hidden ones. I've usually just exchanged keys with a neighbor. However, with one neighbor, we just hid our keys in one another's yards. That way we could get to it if the other wasn't home. But if a key was found by the wrong person, he wouldn't open any doors on the property. No, and glad I don't. One morning my wife noticed a homeless woman picking up the plants on the porch and looking under them. She went out and challenged her and got some BS story about liking our plants. But she was clearly looking for a spare key. My Schlage key entry straight up failed on me. Newly installed about a year in and out of nowhere it just stopped working. Not a faulty battery. I was locked out. $175 locksmith bill later. Schlage replacement. I have a master lock hider key. Yes. I live at 768th Avenue in Kenosha, WI, and the key is under a red rock next to the front porch on the left side. Also, the jewelry is in a cardboard box behind the laundry basket in the closet, and my computer password is Jimbo765. Yeah. It's just me and my dog at my house. I work half the time out of town, and I keep a key hidden on the property outside the house. So if I get stranded due to weather, a friend or family member can stop over and take care of my dog. Nah. I have a digital door lock with keypad entry. If that fails, I have the keys. If that fails, I'll use my garage opener. If that fails, my garage opener is connected to Wi-Fi, and I'll use my phone app, so I'm pretty covered. My neighbor and best friend have keys to my house. Not that we really lock our doors unless at night. I got to large dogs, and no shit worth stealing. If you break into my house, have fun stealing the 10-year-old TV. I know some people who do because they'll lock their keys in the house or something. Or if they're in the hospital and they need somebody to go run to their house or whatever. I personally don't, but to each their own. I once had someone try to walk into my app while I was there, but I always locked the door behind me. Granted, I lived in a social housing shithole, but felt kinda proud of my lack of trust in humanity. No. I have a lockbox with a code. It's not really hidden, but growing up this was a more common thing, hidden keys, I think. My mum's was in her washroom. My grandma's was in a specific place in her garage. My family used to when I was a kid. It was hidden in the garage amongst a shelf of cans, and I used it to get in the empty house every weekday after school. Nowadays, when I have my own key ring on me, no. Canadian here. I keep a spare key in a magnetic box at the summer house. If there is a problem, I can tell whoever where it is, and they can get in. P.S. It is inside a vent on the west side of the cottage. Only if I have to let somebody in while I'm not home, like maintenance, or a friend whose house is sitting. I live in a city now, though. When I lived in the country, Heavy Ribody kept the spare key outside. Here's me just leaving the key in my back door. If someone has made it that far into my property, their intentions aren't pure. Please don't break a window when you steal my stuff. Thanks. No. I just don't lock my house. My dog is the friendliest dog in the world if he knows you. If he does not, ain't no way in hell you'd willingly enter my house with the noises that demon makes. No. But I should. I have twice locked myself out. I had to pull the air conditioner out of the window to crawl in. Nobody called the cops. So I'm screwed for a real break-in anyway. It's on an enclosed porch. But yes. And it's still tucked away. But I live far enough away from any main roads and generally people that I often forget to lock my doors anyways, lol. Yes. Just in case I ever lock myself out. Inside my backyard shed, on a shelf with a whole bunch of other random junk, there's a fake can of bug spray that has a key inside of it. We have for vehicle, so it always looks like we are home, so usually there is no need to lock the doors. Anybody going and looking for valuables will be very disappointed. Smile. Yes. So does pretty much everyone I know. But unlike in the movies, the key is not under the mat, above the door frame, or hidden in the potted plant next to the door. A lot of folks do. Everyone should. And definitely keep them under the welcome mat, or in one of those easily noticeable fake rocks that totally no one will recognize. I have a spare house key in my car. I also have a spare car key in the house. And because I'm paranoid, my best friend of over 13 years also has a spare key to each. No law. If I somehow manage to lose my keys while I'm out, that's why trusted family members have keys. But also my landlord has the key too, and locksmiths exist. Yes, we did when I was growing up, and we have a hidden spare for our house now that I'm an adult. I had no idea this is an American thing. Where are you from? I have my key hidden in a nearby squirrel. When I play a particular tune on a flute, it runs over, ripping the stitches open and dropping the key on my doormat. Fake rock in the backyard has saved me numerous times from freezing my ass off or having to call my sister who lives only 2 blocks away. Yeah, I'm that dude. I live in an apartment, but I stashed my key in the park down the street. Even if someone found it, they would have no way to tell which apartment it went to. Nope. Don't ever lock my door. Don't even have a key for the door, lol. Never had an issue, any fear about it. Someone wants to steal my shit. Go for it. It's not something everyone does, but it certainly happens often enough to be a trope. I think in the past it was more common, and it's also area specific. Our spare key is in a fake rock. That rock is in a decorative pile of rocks. There is also a fountain made of rocks. This is the deco pile of rocks. I don't lock my doors. I have for full-grown Great Danes in the house. If someone steps through the door, they will shit themselves and turn around. No, I know some people will give a key to a neighbor or another family member who doesn't live in the same house in case of an emergency though. I'm not American, but I do know how to pick the lock of my front door if I ever forget my key. Hopefully I never forget my lockpick and my keys. Former contractor here. A rule of thumb is put your hand on the doorknob and the key will hidden within reach of your other hand. Haha. A lot of people do. You can also have an extra in some coded box or something. It's just a fail-safe to not be locked out of your house. In the mailbox is where my mom would place the key. Oftentimes people place a key under the mat at the door or within a potted plant. Yeah. I service hundreds of houses with info on where the key is hidden. It's becoming less common now with smart locks and keypads. We used to growing up, but now family has garage code. We keep a key hidden in our detached garage that we can open with our phones.